About a year ago, a mom showed up at the front door with a suitcase and a 5-year-old girl. And the first thing she said was, "I heard you help people like us." And we, of course, opened our doors and we're like, absolutely, come on in. We helped her get housing. We helped her daughter enroll in school. And they're doing really well now. They're in a program and working towards having their own place.
We are ready. We're rolling in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Equipping the Saints with Che On. I'm your co-host, Joy On New, and today we are at Crete Academy with Hattie Mitchell. Hello, Hattie. Thank you for having us on your campus.
Of course. I'm happy you guys are here.
We're sitting in your beautiful library, and we are here in your school right now. But before we get into the story about your school and how it was established, I want our guests to get to know you. So if you can just give us a little introduction of who you are and how you created the school.
Absolutely. So this all really started when I was a little girl. I was probably 5, and I remember I would see people that were homeless living on the streets, and I would ask my mom to give them money or food or anything. But back then, I just remember feeling a sense of compassion and empathy for people that didn't have a place to call home. And that really carried with me. I went off to Cal State LA for undergrad. And while I was there, my first kind of experience with a group of students was volunteering at Union Rescue Mission, which is downtown in the heart of Skid Row. And I had never in my life been there. I had never even heard of the place, but I was shocked when I went there. There were tents and boxes, and it looked like a third world country here in LA. And so I remember I finished volunteering, and I walked outside the mission, and to the right of me on the ground on the sidewalk was this baby girl about 6 months old, just crawling around. And her mother was sitting with her back against the mission. She was staring out, just kind of dazed. And I remember thinking, you know, this little girl has a dream. She has a purpose. She has gifts. And the chances of those things ever coming to fruition because of her circumstances are slim to none. And I thought about, you know, what could be the changing factor in her life that would help her to be successful. And it was kind of like this resounding sound of just education. If nothing else changed but she got a good education, she might be able to dream. She might be able to be something someday. And so that day, which was now almost 16 years ago, I dedicated my life to education and to helping kids like her.
Oh my gosh, what a powerful story. So the mandate and the call on your life was a seed that grew, which took you through extensive education and schooling. You have not only your master's, but your doctorate. And now you are the founder of a school. So tell me what Crete Academy stands for, because it's your motto.
Yes. So Crete means to create in the Greek language. And the belief is that if you can take hold of the resources and education that we provide, you can create your own future despite your circumstances. We also turned the word Crete into it's an acronym for our core values, which are character, responsibility, equality, teachability, and excellence. And those are the things that we want our kids to hold on to and embody when they grow up and go into the world.
Tell me a little bit about these kids. Tell me about the families that they come from. Tell me how you find them, because there's a lot of schools here in the Los Angeles area, but you are specifically a charter school.
Correct.
And you are TK through 6th right now, which is amazing. But what families and what backgrounds do you cater to specifically?
So our mission is to serve kids who are homeless. But as you said, we are a public charter school. So we technically have to serve anyone that comes into our doors if we have space, and we do. So we do have the range of socioeconomic status represented at our school. However, we are we have overrepresentation in a couple of areas, which are poverty. So we're 95% free and reduced lunch, which means living below poverty. And then we're 30% homeless. So at any given time, we have 230 students this year. So at any given time, we have a handful of students that are in shelters, in cars, in motels, hotels, or on the streets. But our model is designed to serve those kids. These kids are everywhere. They're at all the schools, but they go unnoticed and unseen, and they will fly under the radar. Sometimes they become discipline issues. They miss too much school. They become truant. They're kicked out, right? They're set by the wayside. Other times, and this is a lot of the case, there's a lot of shame in being homeless. And so the families aren't forthcoming with that information, and they don't often get what they need.
And you probably start seeing little signs of.
We do a survey, and word has gotten out. It's a rumor now that Crete helps people that are experiencing homelessness. So
That's a good rumor.
it's a great rumor. In fact, about a year ago, a mom showed up at the front door with a suitcase and a 5-year-old girl. And the first thing she said was, "I heard you help people like us." And we, of course, opened our doors and we're like, absolutely, come on in. We helped her get housing. We helped her daughter enroll in school. And they're doing really well now. They're in a program and working towards having their own place.
So that's incredible. And it's amazing that you are a safe haven and a safe place for these families who really have nowhere else to go. But you think about homelessness, it's more than it's shelter, it's food, it's hygiene, and clean clothes or clothes to begin with. So I know that your school is much more than education. You provide so many services. Can you tell me about some of those?
Absolutely. So we have a wellness center, which you sort of alluded to, and the wellness center focuses on all of your basic needs. So vision, medical, dental, therapy. So we have individual therapy and group therapy. We offer a food pantry. We have a laundry room that's open every Wednesdays. We have clothes. We have hygiene kits. And then we have parent resources. A lot of people will do better once they know better. And they just simply don't have the information, So we have dedicated staff working with our parents to really equip them to be better people first and then better parents for their kids.
I love that. And I think we've mentioned, we've had previous conversations that a lot of these families are either fatherless or they come out of the foster system. Or many times you'll see the grandparents' involvement because if they can't show up, that they're working, right? So you also provide after school care, right? Because these parents do need to work. They do need to provide for their families. And so tell me about some of those programs that you have.
So we offer enrichment every day, which is basically what you see in most middle class and affluent families. The kids go to sports, they play instruments, they learn a second language, etc. Our kids don't have access to any of those things. Their parents are not taking them to baseball practice or to karate or to Kumon or to music lessons. And so we have all of those services starting at 1:30 every day. We have enrichment last 6 weeks. And so right now we're offering chess, voice. We have it's like we call it music class, but they're learning how to make beats.
That's awesome.
Studio beats using laptops. They love it because
really
they're
cool.
into hip hop, of course, being in the neighborhood that we're at. We have basketball, we have dance. And so all of the kids at our school will get to experience those things for the whole year. They'll just rotate. And then, of course, we have after school, which is from 2:30 to 5:30 every day.
So you're providing.
It's $1 a day also. We charge $1.
Oh, so what is the purpose behind like that? Just teaching.
You'll only use it if you really need it because
love
we're
that.
not babysitters, right? And we want our parents to spend time with their kids. So you have to demonstrate that you're either in school full-time during those hours or working. So you have to submit documentation, and then we charge $1 because it's not a lot, $1 a day, but it's enough to where if you don't need it, you're not going to use it. And really, we have to teach accountability in our community.
Yes, and you do that with your students too, because you have like a reward system
We
too,
do.
which we're gonna take a tour. And
Okay.
I do want to see the wellness center because I know that I was thinking about what you're doing here. You're very much like a Joseph, where you're able to store and provide necessities, and the Lord has given you so many resources because you've been faithful, but it's not to keep it for yourself,
Right.
but to be
Absolutely.
available and open hands for not just the students, but for the parents and really the whole community. So some of the students are not only at risk, homeless, coming out of the foster care, but you've created an environment where you really foster and cater to gifted students.
Correct.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we know that 10% of the population in the world is intellectually gifted, and gifts are not withheld just because you grow up in a poor neighborhood or
Right.
because your parents didn't go to college.
Can you
right?
explain what that means, though? Gifted, like what?
Absolutely.
What constitutes being gifted?
It means that your brain is performing at 99% above the rest of your peers.
Wow.
So intellectually, your brain is just absorbing more and able to take in more than the average brain. You're smarter, right?
Yeah.
Basically. And so when I learned that, which was back when I was in school, I thought, okay, so that means if, I'm just doing basic math. If I have 200 kids, 20 kids should be gifted. I'm going to require that my teachers figure out who those kids are. So every year they have to submit the names of 2 students. I don't care if they're the most well-behaved or not. I don't care if they have the highest grades or not. You submit 2 names. We'll also look at data to back it up to assess. And we're going to figure out which percent of our school is gifted. And so every year we've identified more kids. Right now we are 12% gifted, which is extremely high. It's double what the district is. LAUSD 6%. So I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely.
And we just developed over the last 3 years a gifted program. So they actually have a gifted teacher. Right now she's on maternity leave, so you're looking at the gifted teacher. I get to spend actually every day 2 hours with the gifted kids, and I teach in this room. But they get to go on field trips. In fact, we just sent 3 with the help of donors. We sent them to a college campus, Haverford, which is in Philly. They spent 3 weeks on campus in the dorms.
3 weeks.
3 weeks by themselves, no parents, no staff, but staff from the
And
program.
these kids are how old?
They were in 5th grade, going
Okay.
into 5th.
So like 10, 9,
9
10.
and 10.
Wow.
And they come back totally different. I mean, it changes your mindset beyond anything, right? For 2 of them, it was their first time on an airplane.
Oh, yeah.
For the same 2, it was their first time outside of LA.
Yeah.
And they live in one of the most resourceful, wealthiest cities, states, and countries in the world. And they don't have access to the stuff that many of us take for granted. So they were taking things like animal brains, studying animal brains and advanced math.
Wow.
And they're going to go on to do incredible things. I know they are.
That's amazing. And part of that is finding giftedness in areas outside of academia too.
That's right.
Some are very much musically inclined, and I know that you have resources for like computer science or development.
Right.
So it's not just. I think sometimes when people think of education, it's like very linear as far as like textbooks and like
Right.
mathematics and stuff. But it's way beyond that. I know you guys even have a dance studio here.
I was just going to mention that we've over the last 4 years we have a dance studio. We have a dance teacher. She trains students, and she's also required to identify kids who are gifted in dance. So we have found 4 that have tested with LAUSD and have been determined that they're gifted in dance, which just opens up opportunities for them within the district, but also just in the world.
That's amazing. You're setting up these kids for success, but also you're training and mentoring the families. And I know that you were mentioning earlier that even just like on a financial level, like how to manage a paycheck, how to manage your household, certain just basic things that some adults just don't know, have
Right.
never been taught. So you are a resource not just for the children, but for the parents, for the caregivers at home. But I really want to go see what you're doing in the Wellness Center. I want to see the food that you provide. And so let's go take a tour if that's okay with you.
Awesome.
If you're ever visiting the area, we'd love to see you at one of our 5 campuses. For more information, check out our website or any of our social media platforms.
Welcome back to Equipping the Saints with Che On.
Hey, so we're in the Wellness Center now. Tell me a little bit of these canned goods, and we have some non-perishables in here.
Yes, so the Wellness Center is really where we serve all of the basic needs for our families. We, like I mentioned, offer food, clothing, mental health resources, lots of supports for the parents. But this food pantry actually came about during COVID because we had a mom who called our principal, who happens to be my husband.
That's right. I wanted to mention that
Yes.
This is a family affair. Your husband's the principal of the school.
Principal, co-founder. We founded the school together in 2016. But this mother called our principal and said, we haven't had food in 2 days because the refrigerator went out and she didn't have any money to pay for groceries because she had just paid her rent. And so we gave her our personal money, which is what we do often. If, families need that and we can help, we do. But we vowed that no family would ever go hungry, that there was just too many resources and we are too resourceful for a family to not have food. So we partnered with the local church and opened a food pantry. We've now partnered with Amazon Fresh and had food drives where we give out fresh fruits and vegetables, meat, poultry, dairy, a couple times a year. And then parents can come here every Wednesday to get food for their homes.
Go shopping in your
Exactly.
actual pantry. So we have some rice and beans.
Noodles,
And
granola bars, yeah.
that's amazing. And what else do you provide? I've seen that you guys give haircuts out.
Haircuts, we try to do that twice a year because it just makes a difference in how you perform. Like if you feel like you're looking your best, then you'll put your best foot forward. So yes, haircuts. We have clothing in the cabinets right behind the food pantry. So a lot of times kids will come with no socks, no underwear, and those are the things that we give out as much as
Right.
possible.
You think of homelessness, you think of, we had mentioned hygiene and, a lot of these people, they don't have a home, they don't have a place to not only store their food, but also clean their clothes. So you also provide additional services in addition to everything that you're doing.
Right.
There's more.
There's more. We have a laundry room, and every space and resource at the school, there's always a story behind it. It's
Yes.
like it was created in response to something, to a need, because I've always said we will be a school that is more than a school, and we will be a school that's responsive to the needs of the community. So whatever they need, it's our job to provide it. So our first year, we offered transportation, and we had some students picked up from their home.
Because you guys don't have the normal school bus system.
No, because we're an independent charter school, we have to provide our own transportation. And so we had picked up this one family. It was in October, so it's still dark outside. It's cold. They were the first route, so their pickup time was like 5:15. And when the kids got to school, all 3 of them, a 6th grader, a 4th grader, and a 2nd grader, were shivering. Now, it was cold, but it wasn't as cold as their responses, their bodies were. And so I asked the oldest one, like, why are you guys so cold? And she said, because we washed our clothes in the sink last night, but when we put them out to dry, they didn't dry because it's cold. And my heart just broke. And I'm like, these kids cannot be at school, 50 degrees, outside waiting for school to start in the cold. So we opened a laundry room. So families can come every Wednesday by appointment, wash their clothes. There's a dryer. If there's accidents, we can wash and clean clothes. And I just never wanted that to ever happen again.
That's heartbreaking, but it's amazing how quickly you responded. But obviously, Hattie, you can't do any of this alone.
Not Superwoman. I
As
wanna
much
be.
as you want to pay out of pocket for everything, so how are you getting all these incredible, canned goods and non-perishables and clothing? Like, do you have partners? Do you have donors?
Tons
How do
of
you guys
partners.
receive that? How does that work for you guys?
So everything that we offer from vision, and when we don't just offer vision, we have an optician come, they provide the service and examine eyes, but they also provide glasses, 2 pairs to any kid who is identified that needs them for free with their prescription. So now they know what's going on with their eyes, right?
Right, and they can actually see what's happening in
Exactly.
class.
They
Because
can
you
read
can't
now.
learn if you can't see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everything from vision to the food pantry to the clothes that we provide to housing services, those are all provided through partners. And these are people and organizations that are both generous and intentional, but also already doing this work. So, for example, the vision screenings, it's a company called Vision to Learn. They partner with Medi-Cal. They're funded by the Clippers. They come to our school. They do the eye exams. They give glasses to students.
We are in a mostly Hispanic neighborhood, right?
We are.
Predominantly Hispanic, but that's not the case for your actual
No.
demographics of your school. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, LAUSD is about 86% Latino. It's about 7% Black, and then Asian and white, some other. This particular area reflects that exactly. It's about 86% Latino, 6 to 7% Black. But our school is actually 79% Black and the remainder Latino. And the reason is because the Black population in LA is about 5%, but it represents about 30% of the homeless population. So we know that that particular community, and by the way, you know, I'm Black, my husband's Black, so we are about serving our people in our community. We want to over-identify and bring in and recruit Black families because they're far more at risk.
Interesting. That's really inspiring that you're literally changing like heritage and lineage.
We're trying.
And spiritually speaking, what people have ancestrally picked up in their line. And, you know, a lot of this comes with being mindful and prayerful in everything you do. I know that you said that everything you do is like prayerfully and prophetically led. And that's, you know, that's what our program is about. That's what the show is about, is being not only just here and doing our jobs and going about, but actually making transformation and changing lives. You definitely have a grace and favor on your life where people are eager to give. Why do you think that is? Why do you think these partners are so quick to give and in surplus?
Well, you said it. Part of it is favor. I think I feel like, and from what I can see, I do have favor on my life, which thank you for that, God. You know, it's a good thing to have. I know it's not everybody has favor. But part of it, I think, too, is that I just know this is my purpose. Like, this is what I was created to do. I'd never think twice about it. Like, when I wake up in the morning, it's like, this is my God-given destiny. So, therefore, it's blessed. And then, more practically, our mission is so specific. It's like, we serve kids 4 to 12 who are experiencing homelessness. It's easy to get behind a specific mission.
Yes.
It's easy to get behind stories. It's hard for someone to identify that maybe have millions and want to give if I just said, we want to end poverty in South LA, because that's really what I want to do. Like, I want to end poverty for Black people. I'm tired of it. But that's hard and that's vague. And it's like, well, what do you actually do? But because we're so specific, it's like you can identify, you can think about that little girl that was crawling on the sidewalk 15 years ago on Skid Row. You can see a 5-year-old at Crete Academy who's in a shelter and connect with them. And I think it just makes it much easier to digest and then to give.
So how can people support you? Tell me what your needs are and how we can come behind you and partner with you.
So our biggest need right now is a building. Thankfully, we fill up every building that we've ever gotten our hands on. So this is our second one. We're growing, we're expanding. We want to grow next year probably by 50 to 100 kids, maybe 200. And that requires a bigger space. So a building, that is our biggest need right now, is just a facility. Property, yeah. And here in South Central, it's very dense. So it's difficult to find property. We're interested and okay with bussing out for a little bit if we have to. But definitely a building, and then secondly, money. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but
you have teachers to pay for, you have rent to pay.
Yeah. So every student, you get about $10,000 for those students if they show up every single day, which is also, it can be an issue, especially if they're experiencing homelessness. So you get about $10,000 per student. When we did the calculation, it showed that we spend $14,000 on all of our students, on each student. And that's only possible through donations. But it's also very telling, I think, of our stewardship of the funds. Like, when the money comes in, it's going back out. But also just the need. If if schools are given $10,000 per kid, and yet it's costing us $14,000 to get them at kind of the basic level, what does that say about the need? I think the need is
The lack
proven
is so much more great.
exactly to the tune of $4,000 per year per kid. It's a lot of money.
What are some of the things that I know that we talked about food and clothing. Are we talking about like devices, like
Backpack,
iPads,
school
backpack?
supplies. We're 2-to-1 at our school. There's a laptop and iPad for every kid. We had to give during COVID hotspots because families don't have internet, and devices, and we paid for all of that.
Wow, incredible. Well, I'm
So,
glad you're
yeah.
open, and I hope you guys have a healthy and safe year. But let's take a look around your campus. I'd love to see your playground.
Yes.
And where the kids eat and play.
Great, let's go.
Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful playground.
Thank you.
Tell me, one of your donors gave this to you.
Absolutely. So it was Playworks and Snap Inc. They partnered with 300 volunteers that we had to recruit. So 300 parents, students, and community members to build this playground. We built it in 8 hours, so on one Saturday.
8 hours.
put
you
everything
put this
together.
playground together, and you're also teaching them to kind of grow their own stuff too, right? Over here?
Yes, in our garden.
In your gardens. Hattie, Mrs. Mitchell, thank you so much for taking us around your campus and showing us your beautiful campus. I know that there's so many people watching and listening right now. They're coming from all sorts of backgrounds. They may not necessarily be homeless, but
Right.
they have their own struggles, their own obstacles in their
That's right.
home. If there's any way that you can encourage our audience, any grain of hope that you can give them, please by all means share with us.
I would love to. So, for those of you out there listening, all I would like to say and for you to know is that we are each given a special gift from God with a purpose, and our only job on this earth is to live out that purpose and that gift. And if we do that, you will see other Crete Academies, you will see churches, you will see reformation, you will see transformation, because our gifts are for everyone else. They're to change lives for the better. So I just encourage you to dig deep, find that gift, and live it out.
Amen. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for honoring your gifts. Thank you for honoring your purpose and being obedient to your call. I know that this is your mission field. This
Yes.
is where you've toiled and prayed for many years before the school was ever established. So thank you, because I know you've had hardships and difficulties along the way, and it requires many, many hands and many, many gifts. And but your yes and your obedience is making a substantial difference here
Thank you.
in South Central and in really Southern California. So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Be sure to join us and all of our amazing guests for this season of Equipping the Saints.
At Wagner University, we offer bachelor's, master's, and doctorate programs through a hybrid learning system. What makes Wagner University unique is online accessibility, transformational learning, practical application, and impartation of the Holy Spirit. Wagner University now offers pathways for students to receive accredited U.S. degrees from anywhere in the world. We encourage you to pray about enrolling. Your life will never be the same.